Okay, so good morning, everybody. Welcome to Nutrition 100. Just thought I would pop on my video for a minute and introduce myself. And today's class is going to be not too long. We're going to mostly go over the course outline and a few other things. I want to share with you an interesting video and talk about a few other things around class expectations and things like that. And we'll really get into the course material a little bit more on Friday. So this is Nutrition 100, Nutritional Wellbeing. And by the way, I looked it up. Well-being can be spelled with one word or with a hyphen. I think the preferred is with a hyphen. So you'll probably see that a little bit in both ways. So before we get into things, I want to talk a little bit about Zoom etiquette. I guess we are going to be virtual for a little bit here. I think the general plan is 2 to 3 weeks, but we will see. I think they kind of at the moment said indefinitely. But I just want to talk a little bit about how we can be good to be online. First is to be on time, just like any class. It's always good to be on time. And that's just one way to show respect and come for learning. Always be respectful. And that means in many ways, whether using the chat feature or just any comments, we'll try to keep it PG-13 and things like that. This is an important one. Dress appropriately and be aware of your surroundings. I have Zoom set so that your camera is disabled when you join the meeting. And I imagine most people will probably keep their camera off. That's fine if you want to have your camera on. It doesn't really matter. But there have been a lot of circumstances where people accidentally enable their camera, and I don't want this to be a situation where you're sitting there in a bathrobe or less, or maybe someone in the background is in that situation or something like that. We just don't want that to be the case. So wear clothes, dress appropriately, be aware of what's going on in your background, those kind of things, just so that we're not having any oops moments. You can ask questions at any time. I'm just asking that you do keep your microphone muted unless you're asking a question or engaging in dialogue. There's always things going on. Again, people have pets or family members that can be noisy. So we just want to kind of keep the distractions to a minimum. You can also ask questions using the chat function. So if you find your Zoom bar, there's a little chat feature. And for example, I'm just pulling it up right now. I'm just going to put hello in there. And you put questions in there or comments. I'll get to them eventually. And that's another way that you can engage with the class. And the other one is come prepared to learn. Hopefully that one's an obvious one. Come prepared to learn. You will learn more than if you're just sitting there on Facebook the whole time. So the other thing is, this is on here. I'm not going to go into this in any details, but when we hopefully do come back to campus, we're going to be following all the Keanu guidelines in terms of COVID, in terms of mask wearing and having your campus access pass and those kind of things. And we'll address it when we get there, which I'm hoping, like I said, be just 2 or 3 weeks. All right, so let's talk a little bit about this class and what we're going to do this semester. So that is me. My name is Blaine McGarry. I have a PhD in biochemistry and microbiology. And so you can call me Dr. McGarry, you can call me Blaine, you can call me Sir, just something nice and respectful. All those things are good. So my background is actually more in the microbiology range in terms of cells and microorganisms, and a lot of my expertise is a little bit in towards the human health areas, and so this is why they asked me to take on this class, which hasn't been offered in a few years. So I'm not going to say I'm an expert in nutrition, but I'm a fan of nutrition, and I've been reading about it for years, and a lot of the concepts in nutrition do have a lot of overlap with some of my research in academic areas. And we're gonna learn a lot together this semester. So I'm looking forward to getting into it. So lectures are Wednesdays, Fridays, 10:30 a.m. Till roughly 11:50 a.m. I have office hours, but currently I don't know when I'm going to be on campus. It's going to be some days I'll be there, some days I won't. So if you're on campus and you want to drop in, and I'm there, please do so. But right now it's going to be a little bit this, a little bit of that until the guidelines have changed. So if you do want to visit me during an office hour, you can always send me an email and we can set up an appointment. That's probably the easiest way to do it. And I can always meet outside of office hours as well. We can either meet in person or we can meet on the phone or on a Zoom meeting or something like that as well. And but when we do get back to campus, my door is always open. Please drop by anytime you want help or just want to chat about things. I'm good with all that. There's my phone number as well. If I'm not on campus, I'm not answering my phone. So you can try to leave a message if you want, but email is always best. Okay, so I want to stop talking for a minute or two here. And what I want to do is learn a little bit about you. So what I want everyone to do is just give me a very, very brief introduction to you, just so I have a chance to, I'm hoping to see you in person, and I want to start learning your names and a little bit about you. So just a little kind of icebreaker. And so what I would like you to do is take about 20 seconds, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the class list and I'll call your name. If I miss your name, you can let me know at the end. And just share your name, what program you're in. I think everybody's actually in the education program. I'm not 100% sure about that. So you can let me know what program you're in and something interesting. So tell me something you learned last semester, or tell me something about yourself. Maybe you're really into avocados. Or if you can't think of something, just give me your favorite color or something like that. But just something that's interesting. That's all I'm asking for. Yeah. Anyway, like I said, I'm looking forward to doing this course. It's something I've been kind of interested in a long time, and kind of nice for me to get a chance to kind of have it all in one place, if that makes any sense. This is kind of the course outcomes, part of every course outline, and I encourage everybody to download and save a copy of the course outline for yourself. It's not not the most exciting reading material, but it has essential information there. As you can see, we're really focusing a lot on nutrition, the diet part of this, and trying to answer certain questions around foods and things like that. So hopefully everybody here likes food, because we're going to be talking a lot about it. We're going to talk about a little bit about some of the biology of what these nutrients do, why we need them. We're going to talk a lot about things like exercise and body composition, differences between the genders. So lots of little things like that. And you can take a look at the course outline. I think I have the syllabus here in a second, and I'll talk about that in a moment. So how is this course going to work? There's 15 units in this course, and so there's going to be 15 quizzes. The quizzes are going to be online on Moodle. They're going to be open book. I'm going to give everyone 2 attempts to do every quiz. And so they'll be roughly weekly, kind of just depending on when we're done a unit. So when we're done a unit, I will post the quiz and you'll have a week to do it. And so the whole idea there is just to keep people kind of up on the material, give you some easy marks. And at some point we'll have a midterm. At the moment I have the midterm. You can see I have the date there. I think I have the wrong date there. So I think I have that during reading week, which obviously people are not going to want to be here on reading week. I'm just looking at my calendar here on my phone, and I think what I meant to put is the week before reading week. So that would be February 18th. I did correct that in the course outline that I posted on Moodle. And what we'll do is we'll confirm it a lot closer to the date, and just make sure that that is going to work for everybody. But at the moment, like I said, February 18th is what I have in the course outline. So maybe I think I can write on the screen here. We put February 18th. There we go. Assuming I got the correct Friday there. We're going to have some assignments, and the plan is to have 3 assignments and or presentations. I haven't decided what the third one is going to be. but I'll tell you about the first two. The first assignment is going to be an infographic, and so I'll hand that out next week, at least the information on it next week, and you'll have a couple of weeks to do that. So I don't have all the details together yet, but you're going to be doing an infographic probably on some sort of food additive. So a color or something like aspartame, or there's all sorts of different food additives, and we'll get to that. Like I said, my plan is to hand that out next week. Assignment number 2 is we're going to be using a diet tracking app, and you're going to track your food and exercise intake for 3 days, and then write a report and analysis around what kind of food consumption you had. And you know what, if you have a bad 3 days or you're binging on junk food or whatever, it doesn't matter. It just matters what you're saying in the report in terms of some suggestions on where you can improve or those kind of things. And so we'll get to that. That will be handed out until after the first assignment comes in. And the third assignment, I'm not sure yet. You can see I have their presentation. I might do some sort of, have everyone do some sort of presentation of some sort. I'm not sure whether it'll be a poster presentation or a PowerPoint presentation. I have a bunch of ideas in my head, hasn't quite crystallized yet. That'll be later on in the semester. And if you have some ideas, I would love to hear them. But basically the assignments are 10%, 15, and 15 is the plan. And I think the third assignment, like I said, it might be around fad diets or something like that, but I haven't quite decided what we're going to do yet on that. And the final exam, date is not set yet. That'll be sometime in April, and that's 25% of your grade. So this course is not meant to be heavy. It's meant to be relatively light. I'm hoping you'll have some fun with the assignments. The quizzes are, they're going to be weekly, but I'm trying not to make them a burden by making them open book and giving everyone 2 chances to do them. And I'm hoping you'll enjoy the course and learn a lot as we go along. This is the grading system for the course, and if you're familiar with letter grades and you've done courses at Kano already, then you probably have a good idea how this works. This is maybe a little bit more descriptive compared to what is actually in the course outline. The one thing I always want to remind people of is the C- is the minimum technically passing grade, because that is the grade that the minimum grade that University of Alberta accepts. If you are going to move on to another institution, they may accept something else. They may accept a D or something like that. And so just a reminder that you should be going for at least a C-. I hope everybody is going for something even better. So this is the schedule of topics. It's my first time doing this course, so I'm just basically doing a lecture on every topic in the textbook. It's 15 chapters. I kind of like the way the textbook is laid out in terms of how it goes through the material. So you can see we're going to spend a big part, the first half of the course, kind of just going through different types of nutrients and talking about what they're important for, what they do, some of the disorders around having imbalances in these kind of things. Eating too much sugar, for example, disorders such as diabetes that are affected by sugar intake and things like that. The second half of the course is a little bit more moving into well-being and talking about things like body mass index, healthy body weights, and physical activity, and those kind of things. And the last part of the course is sort of some niche topics, things like we'll talk about genetically modified foods, world hunger, and so those are some things that I'm actually very, very interested in. And like I said, I'm hoping you're going to find the course interesting, informative, and I'm hoping that everyone will have lots to contribute. So a little bit about the course. Hopefully everyone's been to Moodle. I'm just going to quickly go to the course Moodle page, which is, where is it? Sorry, just wrong tab. All my comics. So here's the course Moodle page. It's very basic at the moment. You can see I have the course outline. I have the link for the Zoom lectures, so you don't have to pull up your email every time. You can just go straight to Moodle and click on this. I am recording all of the online lectures. So all of the online lectures will be put into a playlist, and I will set that up after today. So you can come back if you want to review any of the lectures. It's always, you'll have that available, or if you are not able to attend one, like I said, all the online lectures will be recorded and posted to a playlist. And I'll be putting the lectures here. The lectures will all be PowerPoint files, and so do with them what you want. Print them off, download them, you know, whatever works for you. Some of this stuff in the PowerPoints may not get taken up in class. Sometimes I put notes in the PowerPoint that aren't shown during class, but they are expected. It is learned material that you do need to know for the course. I'll post the quizzes here, assignments, and anything else important for the course I will put here on Moodle. Okay, so a few other things I want to talk about, and talk a little bit about. I have a TED talk I want to show you for today, but I want to talk a little bit about succeeding in class. And I think I already mentioned coming on time is important and coming prepared to learn. These are very important things. But asking questions, engaging, you know, the type of things that really make me really happy as an instructor is when I'm walking through the hallways of the college and, you know, people are talking about classes. It just makes me so excited, you know, particularly when people are talking about E. coli, because I love E. coli. You know, you're talking about nutrition in class and with your friends, it's just great. It lets me know that you're learning and you're being engaged. Taking good notes. I'm a big believer in note taking. I think it has a lot of tips for just really forming long-term memories. Note taking is really good. There's all sorts of studies done on notes. If you take notes and you never look at them again, you're still at least doubling the amount of memory that you're going to come out of something. Think about it. Every class you go to, how much do you actually remember the next day? Like 5–10%? So if you take notes and not even look at those notes, you're already doubling that to 10–20%. If you take good notes and review them, you're going to be able to crystallize and have better long-term memories about such things. And learning effective study methods. So I actually have a little video here I'm going to play for you. It's about 3 minutes long, and it talks about study tips. And I think it's worth a watch. It's relatively short and actually has a lot of good tips in there. And according to the video, they're scientific too, which is always good. And maybe I'll comment a couple of them afterwards. So I'm just going to play that for you right now.
Time for school, and it's no surprise that many of us are determined to study smarter instead of longer. But which study tips and tricks actually work scientifically and can help you get those perfect grades? First up, research shows that study sessions are most effective in small, short chunks. Instead of cramming in a 10-hour study session, it's much more effective to spread it out into 20–30-minute sessions over a few weeks. This is because your brain is better at encoding information into the synapses in short, repeated sessions as opposed to one large one. And this is why even learning different skills, whether it's swimming, tennis, or a singing lesson, often follows this same format. And while cramming and pulling all-nighters may be a ritual, it turns out that this is linked to the lowest grades. After prolonged nocturnal study sessions, reasoning and memory may be negatively affected for up to 4 whole days. Instead, setting up specific times in a day or during the week just to study primes your brain by creating a routine, and over time, studying actually becomes easier as your brain is trained to learn in those moments. And while many of us spend hours passively rereading our notes or highlighting a textbook, studies have shown this to be ineffective. It doesn't improve your understanding of topics, nor does it link key concepts together. It can even be detrimental as it draws your attention to less important information. Flashcards, on the other hand, are proven to be excellent memory reinforcement tools, whether during your scheduled study times or during off times like a bus ride home. It also helps to have a specific goal for each study session. Instead of aimlessly studying, pick one aspect you'll focus on, whether it's balancing chemical equations or learning how to conjugate French verbs. If you can't explain it simply, then you don't understand it well enough. In studies where individuals were asked to learn a passage, and then half were told that they would be tested on the material, while the other half were told they would have to teach it to other students, participants expecting to teach it did much better at understanding the main points. When you're expecting to teach, your brain organizes the information in a more logical, coherent structure. Of course, practice, practice, practice. Not only do practice tests put your brain in the environment, but even if you make mistakes, they help identify gaps in your knowledge. Practice tests have also been shown to increase confidence, thereby leading to better performance. So, where should you be studying? Research shows that having a designated, sacred spot for study that's well equipped with every tool you might need is best. Just like setting times, this primes your brain for studying. Have an awesome study playlist? Not so fast. While some studies have shown that certain types of classical music can help improve concentration, a recent study has shown that learning with rhythmic background noise can be detrimental to focus, and those not using music fared much better. And if you haven't already, put away your phone. This is a no-brainer, but your texts and social media notifications severely decrease concentration. Of course, exams can be extremely stressful, so if you want some tips on how to deal with exam anxiety, check out our ASAP Thought video, which breaks down some tips for that. Link in the description. And a big thank you to TD Bank.
All right, I will stop that there. So lots of good tips. And like I said, the big one for me is making notes. And I like what he said at the beginning as well in terms of trying to learn things over little pieces of time rather than cramming. Long-term memories is what we want to form when we're learning things.
Thank you for sponsoring this video.
So one other thing, I guess he's already mentioned in the video, is I just always ask with all my classes, people consider how they're using their technology. In terms of distracting yourself, distracting others, those kind of things. There's a lot of good studies that show, we don't really multitask. We're switching back and forth when we're trying to multitask. And so, your attention really is in one place at a time. And so just something to think about in terms of, how much time you're spending and how much of your life you're using on these things. Not that any of these things are bad in general, but I do hope you come to class to learn. So one other thing that I'm hoping to do over the semester is do these Kahoots. So there's an app you can download. It's called Kahoot. If you haven't used it before, it's kind of like a little quiz show kind of thing. And what I will do during some of these classes is have online Kahoots. So I'm hoping to do this at least once a week. It's kind of competitive, there's fun, you get points, those kind of things, and bragging rights and whatnot. And hoping it's a good way to kind of break up the lectures and get people into it. So I'm not going to do one today. I don't have one prepared for Friday, and we'll try one out. But in the meantime, you can download the app. If you don't want to download the app, you can also do it online, just using a web browser as well. And so we'll see how that works next day. So that'll be on Friday. So I just want to say, in terms of what we're going to be looking at in the course, I was trying to think about this. I was preparing this course all spring and thinking about, I'm going to give people kind of my best tips. These are them. These are my best tips right here. And you're going to see I'm going to come back to these things kind of again and again all semester. And really, each of these things are things that I'm going to kind of expand on throughout the entire semester. So filling your diet with nutrient-dense foods. We're going to find out what that means, right? What nutrient-dense means, as opposed to calorie-dense foods, and especially fruits and vegetables. Very, very important of our diet. Getting physical activity, again, we'll talk about a lot of that all semester. Learning how to cook. It's very related to diet, and that's something we're going to kind of talk about here and there all over the semester. One thing is behavior change. We were going to talk about that as well in terms of, if you want to eat better, if you want to lose weight, you want to, make improvements in your life, it can be done. It's just very hard to do sometimes. And it is actually best to be done stepwise, just small manageable goals. Last part is, of course, we're not going to talk about every aspect of our health, but it is important that you do take care of all parts of your health. There's different ways to break them down: mental health, spiritual health, social health, emotional health, you name it. There are other parts of your well-being that you do need to take care of. So this is about where I want to finish today. This is actually a 20-minute video. I'll say a couple of things after the video is done. And this is Jamie Oliver. He's kind of famous for being a chef, but somebody who's promoting good nutrition and has become kind of a celebrity kind of thing. And one of his goals, at least a few years ago, was to try to reach every kid he could in terms of teaching them a little bit about food and nutrition and trying to get people just to be healthier in general. So he's got a good message here. And like I said, there's a lot of things he's gonna drop out there, and these are things we're gonna kind of pick apart over the semester. I'll play this right now, say a couple of more things, and that's kind of gonna wrap up today's class. So here's Jamie Oliver. So I apologize, it's a bit of a longer video than I usually like to share in class. I usually don't like to spend so much class time on a video, but I feel that a lot of what Jamie has said there are things that we're going to touch on all semester, and we're not going to get answers to everything. There's a lot of things where there's a lot of information, and the answers for one people are not the same as the answers for another person. And we're all at different stages and different states of life. But I think that he's hit on a lot of things that are really important. Things like we have infrastructure in our societies that are encouraging us to consume food that's not good for us. And it's not necessarily that we have to cut out pizza and donuts all the time. There's nothing wrong with enjoying food, but that old saying about things in moderation is very good. So lots of things we're going to touch on, and I feel like he's kind of captured it there. He's very passionate about it, and I'm very passionate about human health myself. And so when he's really talking about diseases such as cancer and obesity, these are things that I really care a lot about, and I hope that you do too. I think I have one more slide here, kind of just to finish off today. Some questions we're going to try to answer this semester. And the answers may be a little different for each of us. We all have different situations and different lives and different bodies and different genetics and those kind of things. But here's some of the questions we want to talk about. What should we eat? Why should we eat? How much should we eat? How much do we need to exercise? What kind of effects are different kinds of foods going to have on our bodies and our well-being? So that kind of wraps up today. Like I said, this is more just hey, let's kind of talk about what we're going to talk about, and on Friday we're going to get into things.